So I'm here with Axel Grell, one of the most important headphone designers, period. We're here at CanJam New York 2025, and you just gave a presentation all about how we might need a new target curve.
Yeah, so we have seen over the decades several different target curves. Now we have the Harman target curves, which works quite well, but it's not at the end of the development. And I suggest to have some additions on it, some more research on factors that influence our perception as well, not only the SPL. We're working on that. I'm working with the University of Hanover, and yeah, I think we are not at the end, but we have some new insights and I try to bring them into headphones.
One of the things I really liked about your presentation was you had very clearly demarcated the things that we can measure, the very technical things that we're used to measuring, and then all the other different factors that we know goes into the end perception. Things like how far away something is, or where the angle is, or the mood that a person might be in, or the openness of the headphone, that kind of thing. So a lot of your talk kind of centered around how to increase the way that we evaluate headphones to include some of these different things. However, what I was kind of wondering, you listed a number of different factors that we should consider, like, for example, the effect of harmonic distortion. Would it make sense to also just include frequency response in there?
So frequency response is something we can measure, and of course, frequency response is affecting our perception the most. But the other effects are something that comes to this perception additionally. When you create a headphone that just measures perfectly in frequency response, it could be good, but it could sound really bad as well. So in the end, you need to listen to the headphone, make everything right. But as I said in the presentation, the mood is something that is important as well. When you have a shitty headphone that is really bad, but you're in a great mood and it's a great song, then it's all good.
Yeah.
And it could be exactly the opposite as well. So when you're in a bad mood and you have a great headphone and maybe the recording is not good, you don't like it and it's bad.
Yeah.
So it's not only the technical things we can measure, it is all these perceptual things as well. And some of these perceptual things are affected by the headphone themselves, so we can influence them. So this is openness, for example. This is the pressure of the headphone on the rear of the pinner, and the head is touched and pressed, things like that. And yeah, they have an influence as well, and we need to know what is the influence it. Till today we are just doing it, okay, we have a lot of experience and some gut feeling about it, and I want to quantify this.
Right. Your talk was, I think, originally positioned as, we need a new target curve, or is it time for a new target curve, that kind of thing. And I think a lot of folks, not knowing what the talk was going to be about, maybe had this idea that you would be showing what we might be used to, but instead what we learned was more about the method of getting a target curve, where basically the methods that we've traditionally used are limited to this specific set of things that we can measure. And when it comes to the overall, like, what influences perception, there's a lot more. So I thought that was kind of a cool way of framing it. The other thing that you went over was, as a different method of evaluating and getting to some sort of target curve, you proposed, correct me if I'm wrong, sound anchor or something like that? Anchor sound.
The anchor sound method.
Okay.
Where you have one sound, which is at, for example, 1 kilohertz, has a known SPL. Then you try to have a second sound event and bring it to exactly the same level, the inverted level of that. So when you have to give plus 6 dB for that frequency, for example, 2 kilohertz, then of course, compared to this 1 kilohertz, 0 dBs, the headphone has minus 6 dB and its frequency response, but the perceived frequency response of that headphone. So, and then you go third octave by third octave, and the higher frequencies, 6 of an octave by 6th of an octave. It takes some time. You may need for one test person something like 60 minutes. You have frequency response of that headphone for that test person. So everything is in except the mood, because you're not listening to, you're just hearing sounds and compare them. So there's nothing like mood or motion in that.
Suppose somebody goes through that process. Do you think this would also reveal to them something about their HRTF, something about how their brain expects sound to propagate at their eardrum?
Yes, exactly. So when you know that headphones frequency response on a different or on a standardized coupler.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grass coupler or a
Sure.
B&K dummy head or whatever, where you know exactly the ERTF of that thing, and then do this anchor sound method and compare these data. Then you can subtract the ERTF of the dummy head, and then you get the ERTF of that person.
Yeah, right. Okay, that makes sense.
It's a method to measure that as well.
Yeah. Okay, very interesting. I wonder if we could move away from this stuff and talk a little bit about what you're doing with Grell Audio. And basically, you were the designer for some of the most incredible headphones in the world, the HE600, HE650, HD800S, and all of them they've had a lot of conceptual foundation to them, right? You can look at that and you can say, okay, this is why this headphone was tuned the way that it was. It wasn't just because you liked the way it sounded. It wasn't just, just see what people liked. It was like there was a very solid conceptual foundation for all of them. And now with Grell and the OAE1, you also had a very specific concept in mind, which was to position the headphone such that the driver was at the very front of the ear. And my understanding is that this was your attempt to try one of these concepts out for, the angle of the sound, right? For example. And you'd mentioned in your talk that the people who were so focused hardcore on the headphones, this might have been a bit of a strange kind of sound to them, a new kind of sound that they weren't familiar with. But for people who were much more used to speakers, the reaction was that this is actually something that is finally like speakers. And I wonder if you could talk more about that.
The idea to make it like that is not new for me. So I did some prototypes at home already, because at Sennheiser nobody liked that when I was working for Sennheiser. And I always thought, okay, this is the right angle, and when you do measurements, you see clearly, and with the dummy head and exchange the pinner, okay, when I exchange the pinner, the frequency response is really changing according to the pinner, and it's not changing in that way, or it's nearly not changing when you're at the traditional position of the driver. And I wanted to realize that, and the Grell OEE1 was, the headphone where I had the chance to do it, and I did it, and it works. And the speaker guys who are used to listen to music coming from this position, this 30 degrees or 330 degrees position, they're used to hear that sound. But when someone was grown up with headphones on the ears, it is for him or her unnatural. And yes, it's logical. I didn't expect that, but it's okay, it's a logical reaction.
Makes sense, it fits.
Yeah, but I don't have the mission to teach the world how they should listen to music. I'm a little bit on this mission, okay, this is the truth, and I want to come closer to that truth. And I hope some people will follow. I don't want to say, hey, you have to. No, nobody have to. Everybody should listen to the music the way it's good for him or her. And so that's okay. But me, for my products, I want to go as close as possible to something that I perceive as, or with all my experience, think that is the closest to true sound reproduction.
Right. For all the headphones that you've designed, there is always some concept there that you're testing, that you're trying to implement. When it actually comes to the prototyping stage for these headphones, how do you determine which of these concepts to try and bring to market?
So you build prototypes, of course. You try different things. First, they are not really headphones. They are just some old headbands and some acoustic baffles and ear pads, and you try and listen different shapes of that and what works best. Then you have to answer the question, okay, how to produce that? Is it possible to make it like that? Or, for example, this acoustic baffle with the big, are there resonances in the material and so on? So you have to try that. You have to find the right suppliers who can produce all that. So it's a process. It's you go 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but you find your solutions and improve. And
making a one-off headphone is very different from bringing a headphone to market. There are entirely different challenges that are involved with that. I have a few more questions for you, but just before we get there, a quick plug from headphones.com.
This pinna pasta sure is delicious.
There is something very wrong with you, Douglas.
But you know where else I can get my fill of audio science related things? here on the Headphone Show, thanks to headphones.com, the best place on the internet to buy headphones. They have super fast shipping, 365-day returns, which is insane, and the best customer support in the game. You can check out headphones.com at the link in the video description.
So I wanted to ask, for headphones that are not ones that you've designed, do you have any favorites? Like when you come to a CanJam, like where we're at here, do you get to try out, all the different headphones that are there? And are there some that stand out for you just from other brands?
Okay, so one thing. I've been once to a show in Japan. And I was walking around with Jude Mozilla. On that show, we met and said, hey, let's walk together. For the fairground, I listened to a lot of headphones, and a lot of them were really okay, interesting. And then I met Dan Clark the first time.
Oh yeah.
And I listened to his Ether headphones. I was like, Jude, and he was somewhere a different booth. And these ones are great.
Which Ether was it? The original?
Ether 2.
Oh, Ether 2. Okay.
That was the Ether 2.
Gotcha.
So, and I still love the Dan Clark headphones. So they're really great. Yeah, he's doing a great job. So, but there are some others. Some of these are great as well. And yeah.
So shout outs to Dan Clark. On the flip side, what are some, I'm not going to say necessarily headphones, but what are some audio experiences that have been like the worst experiences of an audio product for you?
Okay, there are some audiophile manufacturers who do something for a lot of money that is crap. I don't want to talk about
you don't have to say who
brands, but yes.
Yeah. And it's like you hear something at a show and it's like priced at, some exorbitant price tag, and you hear it and you're like, this is, it shouldn't cost this much.
Yeah.
Subjectively, when you listen to a headphone that is tuned to the Harman target, there's all this debate about the Harman target. People, in some places, they think everything must match the Harman, otherwise it's crap. When you subjectively listen to it, a headphone that is tuned that or equalized to it, how does it sound to you?
Harman target is okay.
Okay.
I think all the headphones that are tuned to that target, for me, and I'm happy so that I can still hear nearly 14 kilohertz.
Oh, that's good.
For my age, yes. So when they are tuned to the Harman target, they miss some treble. The very highs are there's not enough. So one thing that, but I have not enough capacity to propose something for that. But I think there must be some more in the very high frequency range. So that is not very high frequency, but it's high frequency range. So the Harman target just goes down there. And what I see when I do measurements with loudspeakers or in 30 degrees with my dummy head, so it's going down, yes, but then it's coming up at 11, 12, 13 kilohertz. There is something, and this is something that I not only know, but that I miss as well.
Right.
It's this airy thing.
Just out of curiosity, have you seen what we've done with the diffuse field head related transfer function with the Harman filters applied? So we use the diffuse field as the baseline, and then we apply the Harman shelf and the Harman adjustments essentially.
Oh, sorry, I have not seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
We should send it over because it's like a high resolution version of Harman, and it shows all, because it's not smooth to 1/2 octave.
Yeah.
It shows all the high frequency stuff.
Yeah. I think that's a good approach.
Yeah, because then you get more.
When you just think about it, that's a better approach. Yeah. Because the Harman curve, yes, it is an average. It is smooth, of course, but the details need to be there as well.
Yeah, I agree. Is Soundstage real?
Okay.
In headphones.
First speakers.
Okay.
So when you have a good pair of speakers in the good room, you can really have not only a wide soundstage, but a soundstage with depth as well. So that's just in front of you. So it depends on the recording, of course, when the recording is done in a proper way, and it should create a soundstage. So it depends on the recording engineer, of course.
Of course, yeah.
Or I like to call them recording artists. They are doing this kind of art. And the loudspeakers are good with their directivity, even directivity, and the room is not. There should be something made for listening, then you have a great Soundstage.
Mhm.
Headphones. Headphones are different. You don't
Yeah.
have this cross feed from
Right.
one ear to the other. So it's really difficult to get the same sound field impression. But experience shows, depending on the recording, and don't have to be a dummy head recording. It could be a normal good recording that you have a similar impression of having music there. The middle is difficult. So the middle is something that is, yes, I had this impression that is something is playing in front of my head once.
Yeah.
I could not say, okay, I take this recording, this headphone, and then it's there. It happens. So that something is playing in front of my head. But most of the music, the middle is playing more somewhere here. But
Yeah.
there is something like Soundstage. So when you're listening to an HD 800, so there is Soundstage,
Yeah.
but it's only the left on the left and on the right side. It's the middle is in the head. I think there was a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And this is how marketing affects perception
Right.
or expectations on products. The idea of the OE1s was never about Soundstage,
Yeah.
but about tonality in the high frequency range.
Right.
But what happens is when you put a OE1 on, it has a great Soundstage.
It has it creates that effect.
For a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But the original idea was not to create a great soundstage,
Right.
but to create a more or less flat high frequency reproduction, not only high frequency treble, that range. Yeah.
From a certain degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The soundstage for many is very good.
It is, yeah.
But
yeah.
it's not the original intention.
Right. But do you think maybe some of that is because, people know you for having been the mind behind the HD 800 and HD 800S, which is known for, big soundstage. And so they think Axel Grell, they think somebody who knows how to create soundstage.
I'm definitely one who can create
Yeah.
soundstage if this is the intention, but it was not that one
Right.
for the OE1s. And I'm not only doing this Grell brand where I create Grell products, but I'm doing consulting for other companies as
okay.
well.
Yeah.
And there's different demands. So it's always, we have a saying in Germany, the worm need to be taste good for the fish,
Okay.
not for the fisherman.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got you.
So,
I got you.
But the Grell products, my name is on them.
Yeah.
And so they should be something that is the best I can do
Yeah.
for that price. And this is what they are.
Right. I got you. When you come to New York, what's your favorite food in New York?
My favorite food in New York is Italian food everywhere, but New York has a very good choice of very good Italian food. So it starts from, okay, the pizza just here on the fairground. That is much better than the pizza that we have when we take some takeaway pizza in our town.
Yeah.
And when you go to an Italian restaurant, so this is as good as in Italia.
What is the worst opinion about audio that you have heard, period?
There's one opinion that a lot of people have,
Yeah.
that they don't trust their ears. So I
Oh,
think this
okay.
is one thing that is really bad. They trust their eyes always, but when it comes to the ears, no, I can't hear that. So you are a specialist, tell me. And a lot of audiophiles as well don't trust their own ears.
Right.
So and they don't trust. So they need to equalize
Yeah.
something to.
That's the confidence comes from somewhere else, not what they're
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
hearing.
exactly.
I've come across this as well, where somebody who isn't necessarily into it says, "Oh yeah, it sounds good to me, but I don't know anything about audio, so maybe it's bad." It's like, but if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like it,
Yeah.
in your opinion, what is the best looking headphone?
I always like the appearance of the Sennheiser HD 650s. So the shape. The Grell headphones are looking great.
Everybody agrees the OAE one is aesthetically nice.
My wife is industrial designer,
Oh, okay.
and there's another headphone she has designed. That's the T plus A Solitaire T.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So and the Solitaire P as well.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, they are aluminium,
Yeah.
and they have white leather or black leather.
Yeah.
But that was really hard to make them look that
Yeah.
nice and good. So when you have a supplier, they always want to make things as simple as possible.
Right.
And the designer always want to make them look as nice as possible
course.
and as they thought they should look like.
Yeah.
And I think she was really the stronger one
Okay.
with these headphones. So yeah,
Fair.
but it's always something when you're doing headphones and industrial design and acoustical design. And okay, you need to have this mechanical stability, need to be good as well. So when you have a nice looking headphone and falls down to the ground and it's destroyed, shit. So when your smartphone is falling down to the ground, it's destroyed. Okay, that's accepted. But when your headphone is falling down to the ground, it's defective. Say, should not be. It should not happen like that.
My last question for you, and if you can give me in like a one sentence answer, does driver burn-in matter?
No.
And with that, that does it for this interview with Axel Grell. Thanks again for spending the time and chatting with me. And is there any final thing that you'd like to say to the camera? Where can people find you? The YouTube channel. We'll leave that link in the description.
Yeah, we have this great YouTube channel. We have Instagram channel. Please follow. We have a website as well. That's grellaudio.com. The best thing to know if the headphone is good or bad, is if it has a good soundstage or not, is to try it. You can just order it, try it, and when you don't like it, send it back. But I guess you will keep it.
All right. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next one.